Hi folks, welcome back to 12 Hats Radio. My name's Dave Monk, and today we've got a special guest. We've got Sam Kamani from Auckland New Zealand from product.done.com. Serial entrepreneur, author, great guy if you get a chance to listen to him. And Sam, with all my guests, can you just give me a 3-minute elevator pitch of your show and product.done.com?
Thank you, Dave, for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to be here. So at Product Done, what we do is we work with early stage startups, entrepreneurs, and founders to bring their ideas to life. So people come to us with an idea for like a SaaS product or a mobile app or a marketplace, and then we help them develop like their first version or a minimum viable product really fast at something that they can really afford. Or if we are not able to, we guide them on how they can do it themselves. Apart from that, I've written a book called 30 Day Startup. You can look for it on Amazon, physical version or Kindle version. Physical version you can find in some bookstores around the world as well. Before this, I have worked for an esports startup where we made software for esports tournaments, and that I scaled from about 60,000 users to 300,000 monthly active users in a span of 8 months. Before that, I ran and that had an exit in mid 2018. Before that, I ran a nutraceutical company where it was all predominantly e-commerce based. People ordered online. I scaled it just from like a small sort of a garage in New Zealand to taking it to Australia, US, and few Asian countries as well. I ran that for 7 to 8 years, had an exit from that in end of 2015. So yeah, that's about me. And now I'm writing my next book, and it's about running a business or doing business in times of coronavirus. I'm sure a lot of your listeners would be able to relate with that, or pretty much everyone in the world right now would be able to relate with that. So I'm writing from my perspective from this part of the world. So that's.
Actually, it's interesting that you say that with your company Product Done to have developing marketplaces. I thought it was a really neat idea for podcasters.
Yeah,
I can run it past you if you don't mind. I've got this idea of having have a decentralized like affiliate marketplace where local businesses can reach out to local podcasters, YouTubers, without and cut out the middleman. So it's sort of like almost like blockchain, really. So you get you can put your things up, and they can bid. I think it's almost someone's already done it with Tribalist or things something like that, but it's slightly different.
I've seen that. Very, very interesting. It's like you know how Dave, I found you through another marketplace called matchmaker.fm, where you go and find podcasts to be guested, or vice versa, you find guests if you have a podcast, and that's how we connected. So we know that marketplaces work, whether it is eBay in Australia or TradeMe in New Zealand, or like the multiple marketplaces for every industry. They do work. The key thing for marketplace, for any marketplace, is getting off the ground. Building it is not hard. Building it is very easy. You can build an MVP in few weeks. That's not a problem. The problem happens where it is a chicken and egg problem. Suppliers don't want to get onto it because there's no buyers, and buyers don't want to get into it because there's no. So you need both sides to jump on at the same time. I'm happy to share with you some strategies that I have seen that work on how to overcome that. Businesses who already have a part of it sorted out. So say you are a massive retail business and you already have a huge sort of a list of users or customers on your database or on your company's books that you can automatically put one side onto it. That really works. Otherwise, marketing gets really expensive for marketplaces. That's the main challenge. But once, the good thing is, you benefit from network effects. And also, once you are established, it is very, very hard to dethrone you.
Yes, right. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pros and cons for a marketplace, but I can definitely see it working. I have used similar things when I worked in the gaming and esports industry. Everyone uses influencers in that, and there were two types of marketplaces in that to work with an influencer. So all these influencers would run like a Twitch stream and YouTube channel and their Twitter and Facebook Live and all those sort of things. And they would charge massive amounts, even to do a shout out, they could charge $10,000 or something, US dollars. But it's like, so there were two things. One were like marketing agency type things who would have 50 or 80 influencers on their books, and based on what product you want to promote, they would match you with them and they'll just take a cut, which is kind of like a marketplace. And then there were the other ones which were just open to all type marketplaces. But then the quality was bad. You couldn't trust if the influencer is good and all that. You had to still do a lot of homework. The agency would do all the homework for you. So there were two models I saw. And in the end, I just ended up contacting directly influencers from YouTube and Twitch and things like that. In your case, it would be podcasters. So you would have to initially do that work, contact podcasters one-on-one and contact advertisers one-on-one, and be like the agency initially, and then make it a automatic sort of self-running platform.
See, podcasters are the next frontier for influencer marketing. It's
absolutely 100%. Yeah, I'm sure you have heard, maybe you have heard like Tim Ferriss and what's the guy who runs Mixergy, and the Mixergy for startups, that's quite good. There's few, and they all have paid ads initially. Like they all are advertising supplements or or something or else.
So can you describe the average consumer for product.com?
Yeah, sure. So most of our clients, like we don't work with everyone, but I do talk with lots of people who put inquiries or contact me through Product Done, and most of them are entrepreneurs, still in their early stages, thinking about building a product, or they have been thinking about it for a while. In some cases, they have paid someone overseas or a student to do it, and it hasn't happened because they weren't professional enough and they have got stuck. So those are the typical type of people who contact us on a daily basis. And we have worked with people from budgets as small as $5,000 to $200,000, or to as big as that. So it could be anywhere in between that. For people with smaller budgets, like some of the things we have helped them is we have helped them get funding. So it could be a project that has some social good, and we might help them to get to a stage where they can get some funding from a funding agency, and then finish the rest of the project later. So it all depends on a case by case basis. But most of them, I would say, they're all enterprising. They all are full of ideas. And they don't know. They're not very technical. They don't know what to do next. They are all stuck. So that's when they contact us, and we help them out from there to finish building their MVP or minimum viable product.
And what role do you see entrepreneurship in rebuilding our world economy post-corona?
Oh yeah, that's such a good question. I'm so passionate about that. Yeah. So, it's like if you met someone, say 20 years ago. So smartphones are just 12 years old, 2008, like, the first sort of iPhone started to get popularity. Um, before that, I mean, there were all sorts of BlackBerry. I won't call BlackBerry a proper smartphone. You wouldn't use BlackBerry in today's day and age. I mean, yes, it had a keyboard and email, but that's about it. Um, True smartphones, I would say, from the iPhone age, 2008. So they're only 12 years old. But if you went to someone 20 years ago and say that, you met someone in past 2001, 2000, and said like, hey, I work as a Instagram manager for this company, and he's like, what's Instagram? It's like, oh, they just put fancy photos of them traveling around the world or eating fancy food, and I manage them and I manage their followers. It would not make sense, it would, like, because they're using the brick phone. It's like, what is like, what's it's like, why would you want to watch a small picture of a food in your phone, and why would you want to manage it for someone else?
That's
it's like,
right.
what is this ecosystem? Nothing would make sense. It's like, and so the thing is that the jobs that would be invented in next 10 years or 5 years or 7 years, we have no comprehension of those, the startups, the companies that people will work in. We just don't know. It's like in 1880, half of United States worked in farming. Now it's only 2% of US works in farming, because machines do so much of the lifting and the work pretty much. It's like one harvester can do a job of 500 people. So you don't need 500 people running horses and stuff and doing that. So productivity is increased. So people would have thought, and they did think, there were protests against tractors and things, that, oh, everyone will be unemployed. But no, they aren't. Like, everyone works in services now, and we just find other things to do. It's like they used to say that, oh, we'll have so many machines in the house. There'll be a dishwasher, there'll be a vacuum cleaner, and then humans will have to do nothing. They'll just sit and relax and vegetate. that definitely didn't happen, or I don't know. So it's just there's gonna be a lot more jobs. It's just that the next 1 or 2 years, the adjustment is hard, but humans have always adapted. The other thing is that, every company knew that digital transformation is needed in their organization. Every CEO knew, every CTO knew, every board member knew that they need to digitally transform their old school company. However, when they aren't, like, when their backs are not against the wall kind of thing, then they're not, until they're not forced. No one did it. And now COVID-19 is the world's biggest CTO, bringing digital transformation to every single company, every single government, every single organization, whether it is not for profit, doesn't matter. Everyone had to overnight digitally transform compulsorily, and people are not going to go back, just like to the old way of doing things after a few months. It's just like, once people got used to email, you are not going back to fax. No one is. It's like it's like, oh, I miss the good old days. I make that fax sound that makes I want to go back to. No one's doing that. No one's going back to their dumb phone. Oh, I miss the snake on my Nokia, I'm gonna go back to Nokia. No one is doing that. It's just a nostalgic feeling. And so right now people think that, oh, people will just go back to the old way of doing things. They'll stop doing the Zoom meetings. Zoom meetings are not gonna stop. What we are doing right now, podcasting is not going to stop. It's only going to accelerate. If it will stop, it will be because there is something even new and something that has replaced it in 10-15 years time. It won't be because we're going back. It's just because we're moving forward. So there's going to be so many new businesses, opportunities, everything that that we are unable to see, that we are going to create, and they're all for taking, pretty much.
Oh, look, I can't agree more, because I think, well, it's got to be brought forward, I think, because everyone's talking about, quantum computing, AI, robotics replacing most of the manual labour jobs. So we're going to be freed up, and we are going they're saying last year I was talking about 2029, but now if I read some futurists blogs, that's going to be
Yes.
forward by about 5 years. So
absolutely, this has just brought digital transformation. It's like on steroids, pretty much.
Yes. It's just amazing how much of how much crisis just makes things jump. You just look at the Second World War. In the 1930s, they're still flying around in biplanes, and then all of a sudden we've got jet engines. So, what's going to happen in the next 5 years? It's I'm quite
absolutely.
Yeah, my lips are licking because I just think it's just going to be. Once we get all over the shit, it'll be a fantastic world we'll enter into.
Yeah.
On the other token, and this is the thing for all my guests.
Yes.
Have you had any failures in the past, and what were the lessons learnt from them?
Oh yeah, I've had failures in the past, of course. One of that is not able to get a single job. And that's why I have to end up starting businesses and running. So I've applied for hundreds and hundreds of jobs, and most of them I never even hear back. Initially, that's because I didn't have experience. And then later on, once I ran a business and I sold a business, and then I've had history of running businesses myself as being a managing director or CEO or so on, it's like then it's very hard to get a job because they're like, oh, you always run a business. What would you do? So it's like every single opportunity I've got, it's because of people and interacting with people and meeting people and forming those long-lasting sort of relationships. So that's my lesson from that. There's the other more sort of a specific failure is after I sold my business in 2015, I had some money and I had a lot of time, and so I took like a year and a half off from doing anything paid, and I thought I'll just learn about go back into coding, learn more coding, I'll build something and I'll just see how it goes. So I built a marketplace for photographers because I had lots of photographer friends, and then they always found it really hard to find jobs. If you're a freelance photographer, it's not easy, just like a freelance musician and so on. So I thought, oh, why don't I build a marketplace? But once I did, I realized that it is the chicken and egg problem, and it is a lot harder to get a good product market fit where everyone wants your product. And then once again, my audience, people are not going to pay to search. The only people I can charge is the vendors there because they're getting jobs out of it. But even for them, they are the ones who don't have money. So I need to go and find more lucrative niche.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, it was doing all rightish, but I did decide to close it down and join the esports startup and then go all in on that and stuff. So which was a fantastic experience. With that esports startup, I was based in Silicon Valley for a couple of months, promoting it there, and I got to work with some really talented people and stuff. And
oh wow,
and that's what led to the exit of that one as well. So yeah, definitely lots of failures. These are just the two, but yeah, along the way. Yeah.
And what's driving your curiosity right now?
What's driving my curiosity? Okay, so apart from product done and writing my next book, I am also working with another team on building a fintech startup. So so it's since I've worked in esports and gamification, I know that industry really well. I have a lot of experience. So I want to gamify trading and investment. So I'm building a gamification platform for finance, or like a fantasy finance, just like, there is fantasy football.
Yeah.
So I'm building a fantasy finance trading and investment platform. called insider.com. So that's what I'm working on the side with another team.
Interesting. That's wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought anything like that. That's really
Yeah, so it's a just a bet kind of a thing, and
yeah,
if nothing else, I'll get to learn from it, and that's
yeah,
how I see it, as that, which
yeah,
then I'll be able to put it in my book, what I learned from it.
yeah. That's definitely that's like a out of the box idea there, mate. I really have to give you credit for that. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
uh,
Yes.
if 12-year-old Sam was to walk into your room right now, what advice would you give him?
Okay, there's lots of advice I'd like to give myself. First of all, to not be afraid and just do it. So many times I have been afraid and not been going out and doing things. So it's like I was running a successful business. I took it to overseas. I grew it multiple times. um, I had an exit. I did the same thing for another business. And still I wasn't going out speaking to people or writing about it, putting all this content out. And I should have done that. So last year I decided that, okay, now I'm going to go out and speak. I've started speaking at events, or like just before Corona. So for a year, I was like every fortnight, I would go and speak at an event somewhere, whether it's in Auckland or somewhere in another city in New Zealand, or overseas. I'd just look for opportunities and stuff. So I started, um, yeah, sharing more and not being afraid. So yeah, that's the number one thing I'd say, that don't be afraid, don't hold back. I could have been doing this for the last 15 years. So yeah.
Yeah. And finally, is there any lighthearted stories you'd like to share with my listeners?
I'm just thinking, was the what topic? I have a story for everything.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Um, I'm sure everyone is missing travel.
Yeah.
and and yeah, just this instance, like I did backpacking around New Zealand when I just come here and stuff, and I backpacked with some really really interesting characters. Like everyone was, when you're a backpacker, everyone's from overseas, from somewhere else. So I had like Irish and German and South Korean and from Israel, and everyone, like, and it's very very interesting dynamics, and all these sort of experience teach you a lot. It might not be directly anything to do with business or startup or something like that, but they teach you about human behavior,
Yeah.
and how to deal with those sort of things. So one of the thing was, like, I was the only one who would be okay to like not drink or something. And like with, for my Irish friends or German friends with beer and stuff, they aren't really the species known for not drinking.
That's right.
So I would end up becoming the the one who would be driving the car. But then it was 6 of us and 5 seats in the car, and then this Irish guy would be like, oh, never mind, mate. I'd just jump in the boot, and then he'd be in the boot of a sedan. You just give me a couple of guineas there, and I'd be just there, and and off we go. So yeah, luckily, we weren't stopped ever by anyone. Otherwise, there'd be a drunk Irishman in the boot.
Can you explain that? Oh, he's a hostage.
Yeah. But no, good times. It's all these now are just stories that happened like 18 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta forgive myself.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well,
So,
Sam, thanks for coming on the show, mate, and I much appreciate it. And
no, good stuff.
And
Yep.
and listeners, we'll put the links out to his out to productsdone.com
Yep.
and we'll put the Amazon
and
link
my
out
book
and the book.
I'll send you the links. Yep.
And they'll be all in the show notes and you can support Sam and
Good stuff.
and
Cheers.
we'll see you next week.